And we back with another video. We're here with the NBA draft, NBA free agency preview. Well, you know, today gonna be the NBA free agency. To be real with you, I don't care about no other team but my Knicks, but I do see a lot of things going on, like as Russell Westbrook being on the Lakers. That's kind of crazy to me. But all they need is some shooters now, because they got two. I'm not gonna say LeBron's a ball hog, but they got two ball dominant players. They need shooters. They need nothing but shooters and probably a backup big. I don't know if they're gonna keep Marc Gasol. So we're gonna see what's going on. On my Knicks, we need a starting point guard. We might need a backup. I doubt it, but we need a good caliber in a starting point guard. We definitely need two wings, two small forwards. But we're good on the shooting guard because we just drafted something. We still got Barrett, this future superstar, and we got our power forward in Randall. So let's see what this guy here is talking about his channel. My friend JK Forever Season. Make sure y'all go sub to him too. He just put me onto his channel, Sporting Logically. Let's see what this dude's talking about. Without further ado, we're about to get into this video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 200 subs.
My name is Tucker, and this week is the start of NBA free agency.
I'm buying blocking out from him too.
Important team and player and preview the entirety of NBA free agency. If you enjoyed the video,
let's get into this.
Check out my socials right here. Let's go and get started. Okay, first let's go through a couple of really important and notable.
Make sure y'all drink water every day.
Having a lot of cap space,
at least 7
being
glasses.
Really involved in free agency, and then we'll get to most of the really important players here. So teams, really quickly, the New Orleans Pelicans, they dumped some cap space in that draft trade to go from pick 10 down to pick 17. They dumped Steven Adams, they dumped Eric Bledsoe.
What will the Pelicans learn? Nobody's going to stick around with y'all. Can't wait for Zion to walk away and come to the Knicks. Hopefully Lonzo does the same thing tomorrow. Zoda NY. Hashtag Zoda NY in the chat, please.
So they got Jonas Valanciunas, but more importantly, they saved themselves a ton of money for this upcoming season, opening up over $30 million in cap space. And
good job.
Their big target at the moment is someone like Kyle Lowry, but if that doesn't happen, New Orleans is going to be really active, whether it be re-signing Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart, whether it be going out to get veterans to add to this roster. They really feel like...
What's the thirst for Kyle Lowry? Like, y'all, is he going to come in and be that veteran presence or something? Like, are y'all really willing to pay this man $30 million a year for veteran presence? Because he's not finna come in and drop 10 assists a game. He's not finna... I won't even average more than 8 on the road. He's not going to come in and be the defensive stopper at your point guard, starting point guard. He's not going to give you 20 a night. So, like, what is the fiend? I don't know why so many teams want Lowry. It just don't click in my head. I hope the Knicks ain't one of them teams.
They're on the clock.
I really hope not.
And they need to start.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not understanding it.
And soon apparently means next season they're going to be looking at
Zion will dip.
Plenty of cap space to be
Pelicans finna fail.
Next up, the Dallas Mavericks, another team that just contracted just yesterday.
The Mavericks.
Josh Richardson to Boston in exchange for Moses Brown, essentially just putting Josh Richardson into that trade exception that.
Are y'all liking Porzingis over there, Dallas?
Boston had from the Gordon Hayward signing.
I'm a Knicks fan, man. No, if you knew here, I'm a Knicks fan.
$11 million in cap space and gets them in that $30+ million range as well. Keep in mind, this offseason, 2021, was supposed to be the Giannis offseason. So teams like
Giannis
Dallas,
ain't going nowhere.
like Miami that we're going to talk about in a second, they have planned on creating cap space for this offseason all along. And so it's not surprising to see them making some moves, trying to open up that space. Even without Giannis here, there's a ton of good players, and each of these teams are really looking to make a leap next season. Dallas is one of those. They're going to be in on Kyle Lowry. They're going to be making some calls, about someone like Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard. They're going to try and go out and get somebody to fit alongside Luka Doncic, since the Kristaps Porzingis thing clearly is not working.
I can't see Luka and Kawhi working.
Keep an eye on Dallas. Next up, Miami. Much more
Miami.
Create the space.
Miami want everybody, dog, don't they? The Miami Heat fans, boy, they worse than us.
They are able to create.
I got an ad, bro.
That's a Chromebook with built-in virus protection.
I got a 15-second ad, bro.
With no more of this and a lot more peace of mind. Move along, viruses.
I need ad blockers. Somebody put me on to some ad blockers.
Switch to Chromebook.
Ads.
Right around that $30 million in salary cap space number this offseason. However, it's a little bit more difficult to do so. They would have to decline the team options on both Goran Dragic and Andre Iguodala.
And apparently they're picking up on that growing Dragic deal just so that they can trade them all because they want Kyle Lowry. Okay.
Which isn't the end of the world for them.
Don't make no
sense. They have to deal
sense.
with the cap holds of Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, and Victor Oladipo. All three of those guys are free agents.
I hope the Knicks got the Duncan Robinson.
Free agents. And
Andre Iguodala might as well retire at this point.
Either sign Robinson and Nunn to deals that are team friendly or renounce the rights on those guys. The cap hold on Robinson isn't that big of a deal. It's not that big, so they can still go out and sign somebody for 20 plus. But you'd have to deal with Oladipo. Do you want to bring him back or not? Kendrick Nunn, and again, declining.
Oladipo about to go to LA.
Dragic's team options as well.
He about to try to go chase a ring at this point. His legs ain't gonna hold up.
See kind of how it develops throughout the week. Last up now in the team section is, of course, the New York Knicks. They have full max cap space. They have plenty of space. They only have about $50 million in payroll total for next season. So they can go out and throw a ton of money at various players. However, they have some things to keep in mind as well. Julius Randle is going to need an extension. He's going into
We got that money for you. Don't worry, Randall. We got you.
the last year of his contract. They need to figure out what they want to do with the long term of their payroll there with Julius Randle. And Derrick Rose is a free agent this offseason as well.
This is gonna hurt my soul if we lose Derrick Rose. I swear, him as the backup point guard was the key to why we made it to the 4th seed in the playoffs. We need Rose to come back. If he go to Chicago, I wish him nothing but the best. But Rose, please come back.
Well, looks like there's mutual interest between him and the team to him returning next year on a deal that shouldn't be prohibitive to them getting a big-time free agent this offseason.
2-year deal for Rose. 2-year deal.
And that's going to be something that
And resign Mitchell Robinson, please.
And again, another team that looks like they're in on Kyle Lowry, just like seemingly
I don't understand why.
of the league. But now, let's get to the fun part, right? Let's get to the players. The big-time players that could be on the move in free agency. The big three names in this free agency class are Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, and then to a lesser extent, Mike Conley.
All three of them staying on these teams. I'm predicting it right now. You heard it here first. They're not going nowhere.
I think all three of those guys are staying. Every indication
Facts.
we have at the moment is that all three of those guys are staying. Kawhi and Chris Paul.
Kawhi gonna change his Kawhi and CP3. They both changing their contracts up.
Lakers have Russell Westbrook, and
They ain't going
logistically,
nowhere.
It's just difficult to see Chris Paul going anywhere else unless Phoenix doesn't step up with an offer that Chris Paul thinks is commensurate with his performance this most recent season, and he gets offended by that and wants to leave. It seems like Paul is coming back. I'd be shocked if Kawhi Leonard left. And then Mike Conley, it seems like, is already preparing to accept a deal from Utah.
We know Mike Conley. Mike Conley,
Utah's been dumping some salary.
He not going to no bigger city. He gonna stay right where he at.
Tax, but to lower their luxury tax bills, they dumped Derek Favors earlier in the week.
They violated
Now
Derek
we get to the
Favors.
guys that could actually be on the move, though. And the biggest one is Kyle Lowry. The assumption up to this point for Toronto,
I don't understand
one of the
it.
reasons they didn't trade Lowry during the year to, for example, LA. There was a trade package offer.
I can't figure this out.
Lakers and gotten back like Kuzma and KCP, kind of similar to the Russell Westbrook trade package.
Bro, they treating Kyle Lowry like he CP3, like he Westbrook. Like don't get me wrong, he's not a bad player at all. He's a very solid point guard, but he's not worth no 30 mil a year. You crazy? He like 37. Probably overdoing it with the age. Probably really like 35. But come on, I'm not giving a 35-year-old $30 million for what? You're not about to give me 25 a night with at least 8+ assists. I'm not doing it. Nope.
Was that they thought they could sign and trade him this offseason for value because, Lowry can certainly go out and sign with whoever, but some of the teams that could just outright sign him aren't at the top of the championship contention level that maybe he would be at to win a title. So the Lakers, the Clippers, teams like that would be able to just sign.
I'm bored of talking about Lowry. It just don't make no sense.
In comparison to what he could have gotten on the open market, but Toronto gets value back rather than just losing Lowry for nothing. But what's developed over the last
Miami want Lowry and DeRozan. Like, they about to lead y'all to the championship with an already non-shooting Jimmy Butler. Oh my God.
couple of days.
I read that today too.
Dallas, teams like New Orleans opening up not just $15-20 million in cap space, but having $30 million to throw at Kyle Lowry. When you compare 30 to go to Dallas or New Orleans,
30 for
compared
Lowry,
to
that's
10 or 15
crazy,
to go
bro.
to an LA team in a sign and trade. That's a big
I'm
difference.
about to get in the gym. Y'all think I can get 30 mil? Get in the gym. Give me like 6 months. Get in the gym, lose some weight. Make sure my handling back properly. Make sure I got my jump shot on point. I'll give me a contract. Shoot, I'm saying I'm taller than Lowry. No, I shoot better than him too. I'm not trying to hear that. Go give me a $30 million contract.
Someone like Kyle Lowry, and
Crazy.
so it seems more and more likely at this point that he could be signing an outright deal with someone like New Orleans.
Probably not
Dallas,
30 million. I'm like,
Miami,
give me
New York,
$2 million. I'll be
teams
happy
like
with $2 million
that,
contract
rather
for
than
2
a sign
years.
and trade.
That second year be my option
really know
though.
if that's something I would be all that
Not the
interested
team
in doing.
option,
If I
player
like
option.
New Orleans, $30 million for Kyle Lowry. You know, let's just say it's 3 years, 90.
It's crazy.
That's a lot. But some teams see
Sign
this
me
as
on the
like a
veterans
Chris Paul
minimum.
effect type
I'm
situation.
almost
where
30.
they bring in a veteran point guard in Lowry that has championship experience that can elevate the rest of the roster. And as I said with New Orleans, they're recognizing that they really need to elevate this roster quickly.
Y'all got Lonzo Ball, and y'all want to go out and put $30 million on fucking Kyle Lowry.
I just don't know if the
I'm sorry for
Pelicans
cursing just now.
work super well for him to go from Toronto to New Orleans
It makes no sense.
with just a relative amount of uncertainty there. I feel like it's more certain that Dallas and Miami are going to be good next year.
Zion gonna be looking at us all like y'all crazy.
Next up, DeMar DeRozan. The current buzz
Oh.
around him is that there's a significant possibility he's going to go to the Lakers. Now, that would entail
Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, starting my starters. When I tell you everybody's gonna camp their paint on them, DeRozan shoot, Westbrook shoot, LeBron you might gotta put a little hand up because if he get hot, he hot. But the other two, let him shoot.
a significant pay cut from DeMar DeRozan, just as it would for any free agent that would be going to LA post Russell.
Just not
Westbrook trade.
mid-ranges. Don't let them
They
shoot
don't have the
mid-ranges.
space to sign anybody outright.
Please?
They have to use their their mid-level and their minimum exceptions. But they're also very close to being hard cap, so it makes it very, very difficult for them to do anything other than sign DeRozan to a mid-level exception that would be worth.
You won't have to, but I feel like he's gonna go to Miami with what's his face.
Payroll-wise, it's a little bit unclear because the Westbrook trade can't actually go through until this week. So the specifics on that are a little bit murky. But for DeRozan, it would basically come down to, do I want to go to LA to play with Russ, LeBron, and AD, or do I want to go and get 15 to 20 million a year from a team like Dallas, from a team like New Orleans, from a team like Miami that maybe misses out on their first couple of choices in free agency?
Sitting here looking at my phone and I just read. Let me go back. Knicks scouted Dennis Schroeder intentionally during the 2020-2021 season. God, shoot whoever said to go scout Dennis Schroeder. Please, just stop it. Stop. Please, no.
Throw a bigger number at DeRozan than they would have initially. I don't know if that market is going to develop for DeRozan. If it doesn't, it seems like the Lakers are the biggest possibility here for him. That's what I would personally predict at this point, is that he would end up on the Lakers for a pretty significant pay cut. But like I said, you never know. A team could come out of nowhere with a bigger offer because they just feel like they need to go and get somebody. And DeMar DeRozan is certainly a good enough player, to get 15 to 20 million on the open market when some of the teams do have cap space this offseason. Next up, speaking of the Lakers, Dennis Schroeder. Similar situation to Kyle Lowry, where I think the expectation was the Lakers were going to sign and trade Dennis Schroeder to somebody, maybe to
nobody wants you, Schroeder.
That is significantly more difficult now post Russell Westbrook trade. Again,
We don't want you, bro.
With the hard cap. It's just way more difficult for the Lakers to trade Dennis Schroeder for someone that brings back value for them. Not to mention, I'm not sure there are many teams around the league that are super excited about giving up assets to get Dennis Schroeder when they could just sign him outright for a deal, probably in the $10 to $15 million a year range. He's going to have to wait for the other free agency guard dominoes to drop.
He's going to have to, because I wouldn't.
Before he can really step up and kind of have his moment here, because I think that he's certainly kind of pushed himself towards the back of the line here, where guys like Lowry are just going to get more priority in the open market. He should get something. Maybe he ends up in New York. Maybe they don't end up with Kyle Lowry or somebody like that. But Schroeder's going to get some money. I don't.
Why are you saying New York, bro? Like what?
I think he's just going to kind of have to.
We're not the same. We're not the same Knicks from a few years ago, B. We're not doing this. Come on.
Where all the other dominoes fall.
Don't do this to me.
From there. Next up now, Lonzo.
Yes.
Tons and tons and tons of Lonzo.
I'll take Lonzo.
Buzz at all times over the last.
It looks like Chicago about to take him though.
Lonzo Ball could possibly be going. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of interest for him to return to New Orleans, and if he did come back, it would just be New Orleans' way of salvaging the asset and not losing him for nothing. Their priority obviously lies with other players, and more specifically other guards, guys like Kyle Lowry. But if that doesn't materialize, they have the option to match any offer that is thrown at Lonzo Ball in free agency. And there's going to be some coming from Chicago, Boston, maybe Dallas, maybe Miami, maybe the Knicks, all these different teams that have $15 to $20 million potentially in cap space. Boston can make something like that happen. Chicago can make something like that happen. It just depends on how motivated the Pelicans are to retaining Lonzo and to matching that offer. If we open up free agency and the Pelicans sign Kyle Lowry to a 3-year, $90 million deal, I would feel much more confident that Lonzo would end up somewhere like Boston or like Chicago.
I'll give Lonzo 15 a year. Not like a 4 or 5 year contract. He get like a 2-3 year contract from me though.
You know, in
team
the very
option
beginning parts of free
that last
agency,
season.
and at that point, New Orleans doesn't need to match that offer and really increase their payroll in a significant way. They already got the guard that they feel like is going to elevate their roster. And so whether it's in a sign and trade or otherwise, they're much more willing to lose Lonzo Ball in that scenario. Another guy to keep an eye on. Next up, another free agent guard. There's a ton of them. Again, we're kind of waiting on a couple of these dominoes to fall.
Another ad?
Dinwiddie. The rumors up until
LA, have fun with Dinwiddie because he disrespected the Knicks too much for me. I can skip this one. Yay.
Couple of days where that he was going to end up on an LA
We
team.
don't
That
want
was his
Dinwiddie.
primary goal, but again, with Russell Westbrook now in LA, that's more difficult.
Can
And
Dinwiddie
for the
even
Clippers,
play
there
once
would
he
have to be a
comes? The
sign and trade
season
possibility.
upcoming.
That just
He tears
gets a
ACL.
little
He back from that.
So I really don't know where Dinwiddie's going to end up. A team like Miami would be interesting. A team like the Knicks would be interesting. The only thing that it feels like right now is that with the Nets dealing with guys like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and Blake Griffin as free agents, there's a lot of difficulty for them to potentially retain Spencer Dinwiddie. It doesn't seem like that's all that likely. So he kind of seems like a guy without a team right now, but he should get at least $10 to $12 million a year from somebody, even coming off an injury, because he is a talented perimeter guard. It just kind of depends on, again, where all these other dominoes fall. And then the last group here to really pay attention to that's really interesting this offseason are the restricted free agency guys. Jared Allen looks like he's pretty likely to stay in Cleveland on what's going to be a pretty significant deal.
Which is weird because they just drafted Mobley.
A front court combination with him and Evan Mobley.
That don't
Lauri
make no sense.
Markkanen is a guy that could potentially be involved in that Lonzo sign and trade, where you have a very rarely seen restricted free agency sign and trade. If he does end up leaving Chicago, I think there's going to be some interest in him. John Collins looks like he's pretty likely to go back to Atlanta on a significant deal. Not a max deal, but a ton of money for John.
All right, I'm ending right here, man. We already spoke about the players I want. We need to get Lonzo Ball ASAP. That's our starting point guard next. I need y'all to work very hard on that because apparently Chicago is closer than what we are, which is kind of depressing. But anyways, man, yeah, that's the video. Free agency about to be crazy. Expect another video tomorrow, especially after we figure out who we drafted. Anyway, on that note, it's your boy Flyboy. I'm done. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Roll to 200 subs, like I said before, man. Hit the subscribe button for your boy, man. I'm out. Almost